Hello, everyone. Hi, and welcome to the Realistic Home Organisation show. And today we're going to talk about how Serenely Sorted, yes, it really can help your relationships. It will help your relationships with your partner, with your kids, and your home. It will help you love your home again if you don't now. So, what do I mean by this? How can I possibly say that Serenely Sorted can help your relationships? Well, I was chatting with a client recently and he said it helped his relationship and he told me why. And I want to talk a bit more about that with you today. And not only what he said, but a few other things that may well resonate with you. I've got a few questions here that I want you to ask yourself. What the first one is, are you losing it? Not your mind, but do you lose things at home? Do things get lost? And then there is a scenario that plays out as you try to find them. If you are in a relationship, you have a partner, are you the messy one or the tidy one? I was the messy one, by the way. And what about your kids? Do you ever say to them, go and tidy your room? And find out what happens next, which is obviously often not tidying the room. Sorry about lots of sirens today on this road, if you heard that. So the first scenario is when we lose things. So the bill, the pencil sharpener during homeschooling, or any other important thing like the keys or whatever at home. What happens when that happens? Well, it causes a lot of stress because you obviously need that thing at that moment. There may be blame culture. In my family, there is this term called blame culture, which is like, you lost it, it was nothing to do with me, or who did that? And, obviously that can cause stress within a relationship. And of course, you lose time as well. You lose time because you're spending time looking for something that you should know where it is and be able to find it quickly and get on with your life. So that's the first scenario. We're going to come back to these scenarios a little bit later. But firstly, does that resonate? Has that happened to you? Have you lost something and it's caused stress in your relationship, in the home, and also other impacts like time lost? The next thing is, if you ask yourself, between you and your partner, do you consider yourself the messy one or the tidy one? Or perhaps you're both the same. But interestingly, you can consider yourself the tidy one, but maybe the other one thinks they're the tidy one and you're the messy one. It's so interesting when I talk to two halves of the same couple, the perception of who is that, who takes those roles. But what it means is there's misaligned expectations. And this is all the greater if you've moved in later in life, or, you are super tidy and you're partnering up with somebody who's less tidy. This can, cause stress for both parties, and obviously misaligned expectations. And obviously it also impacts the state of your home if one person's super messy, the other person's tidy. The final scenario 3, is if you have kids, do you say to them, tidy your room, go and tidy your room? And do they really know how to tidy their room, except for what that must mean is, I've got to get things off the floor. I'm going to shove them wherever I can find so that they are out of sight and therefore it's tidy. So that scenario can cause stress. Not only are they even tidying it, but then is that really tidy, and the impact on that with your relationship with your kids. So we've got 3 scenarios there. And what I want to do is quickly talk about the Serenely Sorted system and what that does, and then how that will improve those scenarios. So Serenely Sorted system is basically, think of it like a a home heating system, like central heating. So you have that in your home, and you've got radiators in every room. It all works. You press go, everything works. The home gets warm. Now, if you didn't have central heating, you could have little, heaters around and about here and there. But some areas would be cold, some will be warm. It wouldn't be that well organised. So it's a system you install in your whole home, so that your whole home is organised according to the system. And this is a realistic system. This is not. That's why I always use the word realistic. It's about a system that everyone can use in their home. It's not overcomplicated. It's not all about the aesthetics. I talked last week that it's realistic, achievable, and sustainable, and saves you time. It's not about aesthetic first, although, of course, you want your home to look beautifully and tidy, but it's about practicality, to make sure we're maximizing the use of our space and our cupboards always. And this is a system that everyone can then follow. And what the benefits of that are is that all things have a place to live, what's called an end home in the Serenely Sorted system. So everyone will know where things go and where things are. This helps in so many ways. If you're the person who knows that, or is supposedly always asked those questions, you're not going to get asked them, because everyone will know where the things are. And that definitely reduces the chance of losing things, and in many ways. It's also realistic, and it's organized. And because the whole family follows it and have agreed and bought into this system, and of course that does take time, and that's another subject to be discussed at a future session. And there's different ways of getting people to buy into it, which I will cover another time. But basically everyone buys into it. And so there is a standard. And this is basically what I was discussing with my client, that they had different levels of what they considered tidy, which impacted their relationship, because one person didn't consider that tidy, the other one thought it was fine. But now they have the system, they say, is this serenely sorted? Not you're messy and you've kept that messy. Do we think this is serenely sorted? So it takes totally the pressure, the blame culture, everything off the individuals, and it just is a standard that everyone can agree and want to meet because of the benefits it has for the whole family. So that totally takes away blame and stress, and you're just following a system that you know works. And the buy-in is really helped by so many things, not least because it's realistic, but because it saves everyone time, and everyone can be organized in a really handy way that works for the long term, but it saves everyone time. So it's a real no-brainer for everyone to buy into. So just going back to those three scenarios, the first one, when you lose things, and think about the stress this causes. And if you go to my website, in my press and articles page, I've got a whole article on this, because actually one time last summer we couldn't find the roof box keys, and whilst by that time I already had the Serenely Sorted system, when we put the roof box away the previous year, I didn't have that system. So there was no logical, it wasn't in the keys place, basically, the keys end home. And that caused me 2 hours of massive stress, because we needed to use the darned thing. And, it was just such a pain. And I could have avoided all that stress had I had that following the system, and that key being absolutely in the keys end home. So the Serenely Sorted system helps you avoid losing things, and this saves you time and so much stress. Another example of this is the pencil sharpener in lockdown. Me and my husband, because we already buy into the system, the pencil sharpener, if you're homeschooling primary school kids, is a very valuable commodity in the house. And we agreed that it was always going to live in this small drawer. Never, ever during the whole of the lockdown did we ever need to worry about finding those pencils and pencil sharpeners and all the things actually to do with homeschooling. And it made it so much more relaxed, so much easier, so much smoother. So don't lose it when you lose it ever again with a Serenely Sorted system. That's number one. The messy, the tidy. And I've already talked about this a little bit because of the client story that I just told. It takes the pressure away from you as an individual being blamed, as it were, for being the messy one or the tidy one, because there's a clear expectation from all sides of a system that you're going to follow and a standard that you're all happy to keep to. It's not hard for a messy person, because actually I built this system for myself originally because I was the messy one. And this was a system I knew I could maintain. So it's designed with messy people in mind. You know, obviously now I'm the realistic home organization expert, but subtext, with a system that messy people can manage and use. It works for people who are tidy as well, of course, but if you are a naturally messy person, this is going to really work for you, because it's not hard, it's not difficult, it's realistic. It's not focused on the prettiness or labeling or any of those things, although some of those things can help in the early days. But it's something that everyone can follow. And messy or tidy, it's a very logical, great system that will get the whole home tidier than it's ever before with less effort. So, hey, it's a no-brainer. Who wouldn't love that? Okay, and the last thing I wanted to talk about was the kids and tidying their room, helps your relationships not only with your partner, but also with your kids. Because, one of my other clients, Lee, and her, I interviewed her actually, and that's on my website as well, under Sorted Stories. She talked about the fact that her son loved the system because it gave him clear expectations and a framework for how to keep his room tidy. You may think that you were taught how to tidy as a child, and maybe you're probably taught how to clean a bit, but tidying, you're just told, go and tidy your room. But what does that really mean? And with the structure of the Serenely Sorted system, even a child can do it, not to mention your wife or your husband or your partner. Everyone can follow it, because I have designed it so that my kids can do it. They may not be able to do it perfectly, but a lot better than they ever were before. So if you want your kids to keep your room tidy, yeah, but you've sorted all the Lego into colours, that ain't going to happen. So you're going to be spending 5 hours a week resorting that Lego. But if you've given them a system where they only have 5 categories in their room, you can go and tell them to tidy their room, and they can do that. So if you've got a top and tail app, you're going to be doing it for 5 minutes, 15 minutes, and not 4 hours. So it's easier for them to do it themselves, and easier for you because you need to do less, and there's less stress getting them to do it because they know what they're doing. And you're not going to go in there, find a supposedly tidy room, but actually what you're going to find is everything shoved under the bed. So that is the 3 scenarios I wanted to go through today. How it helps your relationships with your partner, with your kids. You're not going to lose it again. There's not going to be, this I'm the messy, you're the tidy, or vice versa, and that's impacting our relationship. Your kids are going to know how to tidy their room. And there's no pressure. There's just clear expectations for everyone. And the magic bullet, the magic part of all of this is, it's so easy to convince people this is a good idea, because ultimately it will save you, your family, whoever's doing these things, around 3 hours a week. If I look back, I used to spend, at least half a day at the weekend tidying stuff. And it used to really, really bug me, because it would keep me away from my family, things I want to do for myself, growing my business. And literally that time is just given to me now as a gift. I do not have to spend that much time. I spend less time, far less time, tidying than ever before, yet my home is tidier than it ever was before. You know, and that is, well, quite a result if you ask me. So we'll talk more about how I save those 3 hours a week next week and how I actually do that, and the things that are a part of the system that enable you to do that. So I hope you've enjoyed today's show and some things have resonated with you. So if you've ever lost it, the keys, your mind, the important bill, if you think you're the tidy one or your partner's the messy one and that causes you issues, or you try to get your kids to tidy their rooms but it doesn't go well, then just send me a message, find out a bit more about Serenely Sorted system, because it absolutely can help in all of those areas every single day and save you time. So guys, enjoy the rest of your Friday. I hope the weather is good for you where you are, because it's just beautiful here. It's a real spring day where you get spring in your step and you're all happy. And of course, I've got my new hair, which I love. And I did say it, Serenely Sorted can help with your relationships with your partners, with your kids, but not cats. I did say, I did warn you that it doesn't help with cats at all. They will just carry on doing exactly what they want, when they want, and Serenely Sorted doesn't help there. But for everyone else, it absolutely does. So let me know if you've been here today and who you are, because you can always tell me. And I'd love to, find out who's been on and what you think of what I've said. So do let me know. And also, if you're watching on replay, just put #replay so I know you've been, and let me know what you think. So have a great rest of your day, guys, and keep sorting. Bye.